Knockout litter is the phrase that you're going to hear repeatedly as the city ramps up its litter control throughout the city of Hot Springs. And with me today is Randy Atkinson, who is our solid waste director for the city. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you, Terry. Good to be here.
We're on familiar ground here at the 24/7 Recycling Drop-Off Center, where you see people drive in and drive out all day long with a variety of recyclables that they can very handily drop in the bins all around us, right,
Correct.
Randy?
That's correct.
And that's just one aspect of litter control that helps people with an alternative to illegal dumping or perhaps trashing their neighborhoods, or perhaps dumping things out of
Correct.
vehicles these days, right, Randy?
That's correct.
Yes. So there are plenty of alternatives to illegal dumping and doing those things that clutter up our city. That's what we're talking about today. Why do people litter?
Well, I think it's a mere fact people don't take pride in areas. They're in public areas. Let's say the walking trail that's over here, they're walking down it and they think, man, I can throw this down. City crews will come along and pick it up, and they just don't take pride in it. They think somebody else will take care of it. It's not going to be a big issue. I can throw it down and somebody else will handle it for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are some litter known facts, as you refer to them, about how people litter, their litter patterns.
Correct. I think the biggest issue we have with litter is people throwing their cigarettes out the window. Most vehicles have an ashtray in them. They can put their cigarettes out in the ashtray. The other thing is, you think about you throw your trash in the back of a pickup and you don't think about it. Next thing you know, you're driving 60 miles an hour down the road and here comes all the trash flying out of the back of your truck. So there are several things that people just use a little common sense that we can prevent from having litter strode along the roadways.
Okay, and we often blame motorists and pedestrians for littering, but those aren't the only sources.
No, they're not. A lot of it just comes from household trash to where people overflow their containers and don't roll or close the lids on their containers, or maybe construction sites are really bad about creating litter issues. There's just numerous other areas to where we have the litter problem. It's not only the public,
It's so important to cover those trucks as they head to the landfill.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of the things that people can do to help beautify our community?
My big thing would be I have grandkids, and I think parents should set an example for their kids about littering, not be throwing stuff out the window, or, carry a bag in their car, a litter bag to actually collect the stuff they have in the vehicle. After they go to McDonald's and have lunch and they've got this paper sack, have a litter bag to put in their vehicle, and sets an example for the kids, more so. They're our future. They're the ones that can create and stop the littering before it gets started too bad.
Yes, and the schools, especially environmental clubs for students, they're helping to raise awareness of how important it is.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I had a call today from a gentleman that's wanting to get some youth groups together and wants to go out and do some litter patrol for us coming up on Earth Day in April. So that was very exciting to hear.
Great. And speaking of groups can adopt a street these days.
Absolutely. We've kind of restarted up the Adopt a Street program. We've had, I think, 3 new additions have come in, and it's very simple. You can call our office at 321-6911 and talk with me or my office manager, Samantha Norwood, and we can kind of give them the details of what it consists of, and love to have people get involved in the program.
There's a special Adopt a Street sign that recognizes your organization if you adopt it.
That's correct. If they so choose, we can put up a sign that will say these certain organization is responsible for this particular section of street.
And we're trying to raise awareness through signs that say knock out litter, like
Absolutely.
this button here, throughout the community. And any way that we can raise awareness as people drive around is a plus, right?
Oh, you betcha. The newspaper here in town does a super job of at least 2 or 3 times a week. If you look through the paper, somewhere in the paper you'll see a little sign that says knock out litter, so it's a reminder even as you read the newspaper.
And we thank the Sentinel Record for
Absolutely.
doing that for
That's
many
fantastic.
years. It's always before us. If we take a look, we can find that little trash can guy with the boxing gloves,
That's
right?
right.
Now there are a number of recycling events that are offered and have been for years that are
Yes.
completely free to the public. So let's talk about those.
They are starting last weekend of April. We have an event called the Spring Fling, where we have, I believe there's 5 different locations that we'll have 30-yard roll-off containers set at. No charge. You come and bring any and everything you have. Spring cleaning, bring it, throw it in the container at no charge. After that event, we'll have an event out at Garland County Fairgrounds on May the 13th and again on October the 14th. It's called Household Hazardous Waste, where you can get rid of your paints that you've not using that have been sitting in your storage room or wherever for a number of years even. Bring it out for the event. We'll collect e-waste out there as well, and tires for households.
Oh, tires, that's a big one.
Oh, tires are huge. And then the last big event we do is in August. It's at the convention center. It's called our e-waste event, where people can come in, drop off TVs, computers, cell phones, any basically electronics, and we'll collect it no charge.
And it's amazing the stuff that is kept out of the landfill through these events.
Absolutely, and this is all funded through grant money from ADEQ, which is try to encourage to hold down what goes in the landfills. That's what we want, is to recycle anything and everything we can.
And let's mention another partner, the Southwest Central Solid Waste Management District.
Oh,
glad I got that out.
They play a major part of our district. They fund it all. We actually have 3 employees that are city employees, but the district pays for them, that are over here at our recycle center, where we bale cardboard, newspaper, SOP. Basically everything that's sitting on this particular site right here is taken over to our recycle center and is recycled.
Which some people still are not aware of. You can literally, right next to this lot where we are situated, you can drive through the chain link fence and drive in and out of that regional recycling
That's
center
correct.
And drop off a number of items.
You can drop off cardboard, newspapers. We actually take e-waste over there, TVs, all electronics and so forth, and it's no charge. 5 days a week from 7 to 3.
Let's talk about downtown. You spend a lot of time and effort and personnel keeping downtown beautiful.
That was one of the major challenges that I was given when I first came on board with the city, was figure out what can we do with trash downtown, because we have those decorative containers down there. You got all kind of people downtown. The containers are for tourists to put their trash in, where the local merchants have no place to dispose of theirs. So we've actually started a new program to where we have people spend time downtown from roughly around 12:30 to around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and that's what they're doing, is constantly going back and forth up and down Central collecting trash that's been put out.
And it takes special care because there's really no back door to most of the restaurants and businesses
Correct.
Downtown. Those decorative trash containers are not that big, so you've got a job 24/7, don't
Yes,
you,
ma'am,
downtown?
and then we are down there 24/7 pretty much.
Yes, there are other events and programs that also support your efforts. For example, Clean Sweep that occurs several times a year.
Clean Sweep is an event that's coming up. I believe it starts the week of May 3rd. They'll go around and mark locations, and then our crew comes in the following week and we'll pick up all the piles of debris that have been put out. And this is anything from a bed, mattresses, to just scrap iron, any kind of furniture, just any large bulky items they can put out on the curb, and the city will pick up at no charge.
Right. That CAPS pickup is augmented by the special event that you have, Spring Fling, every April.
That's
because
correct.
it gives people one more opportunity to get rid of those big items that
That's
can
correct.
clutter up their homes and properties,
Right.
instead of being properly disposed.
And when you mention the caps, we also, we have a program that for twice a year you can call in at no charge, and we'll come to your house and pick up large bulky items. You get 2 free pickups each year.
Another perk of being a city resident.
There you go.
And going on, there's also free curbside recycling. You don't have to just come here if you're a city resident. They'll come to you.
That's correct. We have a curbside program that comes every other week. We can put, somebody wants to sign up for it, we'll give them a calendar, tells them what date that we come by their house. They set it out next to their trash can. We'll pick up. We actually curbside recycle plastics, 1s and 2s, newspapers, cardboard, phone books, aluminum cans that we'll pick up at their residence. No glass, but we do have a drop-off here for glass that people can bring.
And for those that do that curbside recycling, it dramatically reduces the amount that they have to put in their trash can.
You betcha. And it teaches their kids, there again, let's make it for a greener future that by recycling instead of throwing the stuff in the landfill.
Well, as we have mentioned just during this segment, there are so many existing programs and events that help keep Hot Springs beautiful.
Absolutely, and the more that we can get people involved and participating in, the better we'll be.
Right. So give the Hot Springs Solid Waste Department a phone call if you want to start recycling, if you have questions about any of the upcoming programs and events.
Correct.
And that phone number is?
321-6911, and again, if you would like to start an Adopt a Street program, same number, 321-6911. Love to have you join the rest of the ones that are doing it around their community.
Randy, thanks so much for telling us about all these programs today. There's a lot to the Solid Waste Department, a very dedicated group of employees that help keep Hot Springs beautiful.
We have a really good group of staff, and they're very customer oriented, and just a great group of guys to work with.
And despite their superhuman efforts, we need you too to participate and help us knock out litter.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again, Randy.
Thank you, Terry.
And next week we'll join you with more city news.